Julie used to be a woman full of vitality. Back when she was a librarian at a high school in Ohio, she was the first to arrive every morning to prepare new books for the students. She remembered every former student's name, every story, every book they ever borrowed. Julie wasn't the kind of person who was easily forgotten, and yet now, at 71, in the once cozy home she had built, she felt like an old wooden chair left forgotten in a corner of the porch. One early winter morning, Julie woke up as usual, but this time no one was waiting for her in the kitchen. No one needed her to recommend a new book. There were no tiny footsteps from her grandchild sneaking down for cookies before breakfast. The house was so silent that even the humming of the refrigerator made her feel out of place. Julie poured herself a cup of tea and looked out the window. Sunlight slanted softly through the sheer curtain. The view remained the same, but to her, nothing seemed interesting anymore. The tea cooled quickly, and her heart felt just as cold. In that moment, a thought passed through her mind. Have I become someone no one remembers anymore? Julie didn't want to admit it, but in the past few weeks, small things kept triggering that feeling. Her daughter would call, only to hang up after a few words. "I'm in a meeting, Mom, I'll call you back." But she never did. Her grandson, who used to hug her tightly every time he visited, now sat glued to his phone, barely responding when she spoke. Once, Julie happened to walk past the hallway and overheard him whispering to his mother, "Grandma's always so grumpy, Mom. I don't like staying here for long." Julie's heart sank like an old curtain drooping in the afternoon sun. She wondered, have I really become unpleasant to be around? Or has time simply turned me into someone others don't want to be near? On her 71st birthday, she received only one message from an old friend that read, "Happy birthday, Julie. Hope you're well." No gathering, no hugs, no laughter. She cut herself a small slice of cake, lit a candle that was burned alone, and blew it out, just to quiet the sigh rising inside her. In an old journal, Julie wrote, "I'm not sick, not in pain, but why does each day feel like I'm slowly fading out of the lives of those I love?" She was still Julie once adored by students. Julie who brought books to a bedridden elderly friend. Julie stood in the warm embrace of family every Christmas. But now those arms seemed to be closing. She hadn't done anything wrong, it's just that time passed, people changed, and she didn't realize she had slowly withdrawn. Her voice had grown sharper. Her eyes no longer sparkled with joy. Life slowed down, and she thought that was enough. But with that slowness came silence. And sometimes prolonged silence is just another form of being forgotten. Julie didn't tell anyone, didn't complain, she just kept on living in an increasingly hollow rhythm. But one morning, looking at the cold cup of tea in her hands, she thought, if I don't change, will anyone even still see me? That question didn't need an immediate answer, but it was the first chime ringing into the silence surrounding her, a silence that needed to be stirred awake. Are you starting to see yourself in Julie? Leave your age and share with me. Have you ever felt like you're slowly being forgotten? If you're still with us, leave a 1 so I know you're walking alongside Julie. After that quiet morning with a cooling cup of tea in hand, Julie began to notice the little things in her daily life more closely. And unexpectedly, from those small details, she uncovered a sad truth. It wasn't that the world had changed too fast, but that she had slowly been withdrawing from it, bit by bit. Julie used to care deeply about how she showed up. She had a whole wardrobe of modestly colored blouses, each with its own story. One she wore at her retirement ceremony, another was a gift from her daughter when she turned 65. Yet recently, she had been wearing the same gray silk sleepwear over and over, the kind with no buttons, easy to wear, easy to wash. Simply because no one's looking anyway, she thought. Her thick, lightly curled hair, once a source of pride after her morning brush, was now just clipped up with a plastic pin. And blush? She couldn't even remember the last time she put on makeup. No one criticized her, but no one complimented her either. And slowly, Julie stopped complimenting herself. Every morning, she turned on the TV just to hear another voice in the house. But the news was filled with unrest, gas prices, accidents, natural disasters. Julie found herself complaining more. When the delivery was late, she got annoyed. When the neighbor's music was a bit loud, she frowned. When her daughter talked about modern parenting, Julie jumped in. Back in my day, we didn't raise kids like that. Julie used to believe she was just being honest, offering experience. But she didn't realize that her tone had shifted from helpful advice to criticism. Even with her grandson, the boy who used to run straight into her arms every time he visited, now just sat glued to his phone. Julie tried to start a conversation. "Have you done your homework?" "Yeah." "Ma'am, how were your grades?" "Fine." And when she scolded him gently for not saying hello upon entering, he just stayed quiet and walked upstairs. Julie sat in the living room listening to the door closing above her like the quiet shutting of a fragile bridge just barely being rebuilt. Have I become too difficult? She wondered. But before the answer could form, another habit revealed itself. Julie no longer went out much. She didn't visit the hair salon. And when friends invited her out for coffee, she often declined. "I'm tired, maybe another day." But another day never came. She didn't even ask for help. Even when carrying heavy trash bags to the street, she did it alone. "I'm fine," she always said. But in truth, no one asked, and she never gave anyone a chance to ask. The older she got, the more reserved she became, not because she wanted to hide, but because she felt no one really needed to know anymore. Those habits, one by one, no one pointed out. No one complained, but they slowly made Julie fade from the lives of those around her. Like a song not interrupted by a jarring note, but simply as a song grows quieter and quieter until it can no longer be heard. One afternoon, while folding an old apron into a drawer, Julie passed by the mirror. The woman in the reflection had a slightly hunched back, loose hair with no shape, distant eyes. She paused, looked closely. "Are you still there, Julie?" she asked silently. "Or are you just a shadow moving around your own home?" If you've ever felt like you're slowly shrinking in the eyes of others, leave your age and share a thought. If you see yourself in Julie, leave a 2 so I know you're still walking alongside her. That afternoon, Julie decided to go to the supermarket. Nothing special. She was out of milk, and she felt the need for a walk to change the atmosphere. She threw on her old gray wool coat, tied her hair back in a hurry, tucked her wallet into her handbag, and stepped outside. No makeup, no thought for the scarf she used to wear every day when she was still teaching. Julie thought, it's just 5 minutes outside. On the way, she reminded herself, just milk, bread, and apples, not heavy. But as usual, she wandered through a few other aisles, picked up a box of discounted oatmeal, a bag of carrots, and a bottle of hand sanitizer on sale. By the time she got to the checkout, her cart was fuller than expected. The cashier was a young man, probably around 20. He smiled politely and said, "Would you like help carrying your bags to the car, ma'am?" Julie immediately waved him off. "No need, I can do it myself." Her voice wasn't loud, but firm enough to make him hesitate. He nodded respectfully, said nothing more. But that uncertain look in his eyes lingered with her. Not because he was wrong, but because he was right. She was forcing herself to do something her body no longer found comfortable. Julie carried each bag to the car, her hands trembling from the cold and the weight. A bag of bread slipped from the paper sack, rolling onto the parking lot ground. She bent down to pick it up, struggling to keep her balance. Her knees ached, her back stiffened. A car drove past, making her step back. No one stopped asking. She loaded the last bag into the car, shut the trunk, and stood there catching her breath. Her body soaked in sweat, even though the air was cool. Only when she got home and sank onto the sofa did she let herself feel exhaustion. And then she cried. Not loudly, not sobbing, just tears welling up, because there was nothing left inside to hold them back. She wasn't crying over the spilled milk, not over her aching back, but because for the first time in many years she realized she had been the one pushing people away. No one had rejected her. She had rejected them. She had turned down concern, refused hugs, declined even the simplest offers of help, like carrying groceries. Julie had always believed that doing things herself was a form of pride, proof that she wasn't old. But now, in the quiet room with only the evening news playing on the TV, That pride felt awfully lonely. She remembered all the time her daughter offered to take her for a checkup. She declined. The time her grandson wanted to teach her a new game. She shook her head. And all the time someone reached out, she brushed them off simply because, I'm fine. But she wasn't fine. And the more she denied it, the more left behind she felt. She stood up and walked to the mirror, looked deep into her own eyes, and for the first time, she didn't see a fragile person. She saw someone who had lived strong her entire life, but now it was time to let others be strong for her. That night, Julie picked up her phone, found her daughter's name, hit the record button, something she'd never tried before. Her voice trembled softly. Sweetheart, I'm sorry if I've made you feel like I've been distant. I know I tend to say no a lot, but truthfully, I need you, and I miss my grandson dearly. If you're free this weekend, would you come by? I bought those raisin cookies you like. She hit send. Not even 3 minutes later, her screen lit up. A message appeared. We'll come, Mom. Don't be sad. We miss you too. Julie smiled, a faint smile, but one of true relief. Have you ever turned down help, not because you didn't need it, but because you were afraid of appearing weak? Leave a 3 if you're feeling connected with Julie right now. The next morning, Julie woke up earlier than usual, not because of sleeplessness, but because something inside her was stirring, like a tiny seed sprouting beneath dry soil after a long drought. She stepped into the bathroom and looked at herself in the mirror. The same salt and pepper hair tied hastily, the same face with fine lines at the corners of her mouth and eyes. But today, Julie didn't turn away like she always did. She opened a drawer, took out an old wooden comb, a birthday gift from her late husband, and brushed her hair slowly, gently. It had been a long time since she had seen that quiet spark in her eyes. Julie opened her wardrobe. There were the usual stay-at-home clothes, gray, beige, wrinkled silk, faded sweaters. But tucked away in the back, she found a sea blue blouse, the one her daughter once said, "You look so fresh in this color, Mom." She pulled it out and put it on, no makeup. Just that, and she felt present again in her own life. When she made tea, Julie didn't reach for the black tea she drank out of habit. She chose a chamomile, the one she used to love, the kind she made on quiet Sunday afternoons whenever her best friend visited. No one had visited in a long time, but Julie brewed it anyway. Brewed it for herself. Sitting at the dining table, sunlight streamed through the window onto the steaming cup of tea. Julie picked up her phone. Her fingers moved slowly to the messaging app. The one she had always said was too complicated and unnecessary. She began to type a message to her grandson. "Morning, Ben. Grandma misses you. Are you free this Sunday? I'd love to hear about your new game." She typed, hesitated, deleted, typed again, finally, hit send. Her heart fluttered. 1 minute, 2, ping. The phone lit up. Ben replied, "Sure, Grandma, I'll bring my laptop. Can I show you how it works?" Julie laughed, a sound that escaped unexpectedly, bright and clear, like glasses clinking during a New Year's toast. She poured more tea, her hand trembling from emotion, not age. That afternoon, Julie went out for a walk. She wore her favorite checkered scarf, a gift from her late husband, and brought a bag of cookies. On her way back, she stopped by Linda's house, a neighbor a few years older, also widowed, who had lived quietly for many years. Julie knocked, clutching the bag of cookies. "Julie, is that you?" Linda opened the door, surprised. "Your favorite ginger cookies," Julie said. "If you're free, maybe we could share a few, just for a little while." Linda invited her in. No need for many words. They sat together, 2 cups of hot tea, 2 fragrant cookies, and 2 women slowly stepping out of the silence that had wrapped around them for far too long. That night, as Julie prepared for bed, her phone lit up again. A message from her daughter. "Mom, you looked radiant in that blue blouse today. I saw the photo Ben took. Your smile is beautiful." Julie smiled. She looked at the photo. The once too busy daughter is now reaching out. The once silent grandson is now eager to visit. The once lonely neighbor is now sharing an afternoon. And Julie, the woman who once believed it was too late to change, now stood at the doorway of a new chapter, opened by nothing more than a cup of tea, a blue blouse, a message, a cookie. Nothing grand, just the choice to live a little differently. If you believe that one small action can change your day, leave a 4 below. And if you've ever had a ready to begin again moment, share it with me. You are not alone. Since the day Julie put on her sea blue blouse again, everything began to change. Not drastically, not loudly, but quietly and steadily, like spring seeping into the leaves after a long winter. But the most important shift wasn't external. It was that, for the first time in years, Julie chose to live differently. She wrote in her journal a list of 11 things she wanted to adjust, not because anyone asked her to, but because her heart needed it to feel light again. And she began one by one, gently, patiently. 1. No longer starting conversations with complaints. Julie used to begin her mornings with phrases like, "It's so gloomy today," "The news is all bad," or "My back hurts again." Now she tries saying, "The tea smells lovely today," or "The cat napped by the window yesterday. It was so cute." At first, it seemed like no one noticed, but then she realized the cashier smiled differently, her daughter stayed on the phone longer, and she herself felt lighter inside. 2. Taking care of her appearance, not to look good, but to feel worthy. Julie didn't change her style. She simply began choosing outfits that made her feel like herself. The floral flats long stored away, the silk scarf once saved for special occasions, the soft pink lipstick her granddaughter once teased her about. "Grandma, you're adorable." And one day, walking past the bakery, someone called out, "Julie, is that you? You look radiant." She smiled, not for the compliment, but because she knew it was true. 3. No longer refusing change. Julie used to hate smartphones. Now she uses one to text Ben, her grandson, every morning. She doesn't type fast, just enough. And more importantly, she asks, "Ben, is your game hard? Any characters like me?" Ben replies longer each day. 4. No longer keeping things just in case. Julie spent an afternoon clearing out her closet. Each item whispered memories, but instead of clinging to them, she gave them away. Scarves to a nearby nursing home, old books to the library, warm clothes to a local charity. Her room felt more spacious, and strangely, in that openness, she didn't feel empty. She felt like she had made space for something new, replacing irritation with a pause and a smile. One day at the store, the cashier fumbled and rang up the wrong price. In the past, Julie would frown and say, "Can you hurry up?" This time she breathed, then smiled. "Busy day for you, huh? No rush, I've got time." The young man looked up, surprised, then smiled back. "Thanks for your patience. I think my day just got better because of that." Listening instead of always talking about herself. When she met an old friend, Julie didn't launch into stories about her aches, aging, or what she had to endure. She asked, "So what's been bringing you joy lately?" Just that, and her friend talked for an hour. As they parted, she held Julie's hand, eyes glistening. It's been so long since someone truly listened. Julie understood. Genuine attention is the strongest thread that keeps people close. 7. Learning to say I need help. No more struggling to carry heavy bags. No more rejecting a neighbor's offer to mow the lawn. Julie learned to say, "Thank you, I could really use that." And surprisingly, others felt more connected when they could help. 8. Allowing herself to enjoy life. Even without a reason, Julie opened a personal account she called Joy Fund. Yeah, every month she used it for something that made her heart light up. Buying fresh flowers, going on a picnic with Linda, taking a cooking class for seniors. No invitations, no pressure. Julie simply gave herself permission to live. 9. Letting go of back in my day and starting with tell me more about this. Instead of comparing the past, Julie chose curiosity about the present. When Ben showed her a photo editing app, she didn't shake her head. She said, "I don't get it yet, but can you teach me?" Her grandson laughed out loud. "Grandma, you'll be better at it than my mom." 10. Writing down the unspoken. Then letting go, Julie wrote a letter to a friend who once hurt her deeply. She never sent it, just wrote, then burned it. The ashes floated up like whispers, and she felt released. Not because she forgave them, but because she freed herself from what had held her down. No longer ignoring health signs, but listening like a friend. She went for regular checkups, practiced balance each morning, drank water on schedule. Not out of fear, but because she cherished this body, the loyal companion that had carried her through decades of life. Julie didn't change to please anyone. She changed to fully live the life that was still hers, a life that deserved to be light, warm, and deeply connected. Have you ever changed a small habit and felt life shift in a better way? Leave a 5 if you see a part of yourself in Julie's journey. And don't hesitate to share. What's one small thing you'd like to begin today? That Sunday morning, Julie woke up early, not because of an alarm, not to worry, but from excitement, a feeling she hadn't felt in such a long time. She stepped into the kitchen, opened the window to let the sunlight in, and brewed a pot of peppermint tea. The familiar scent drifted gently through the room, blending with the bird song on the balcony. She placed a second teacup on the table, not out of habit, but because today, Ben was coming. It had been months since the two of them shared a full conversation. But his short message, "Grandma, can I stop by?" made Julie's heart feel young again. She didn't prepare anything fancy, just baked a batch of raisin cookies, laid out a few old photos, and turned on the Wi-Fi. When Ben walked into the house, the room seemed to brighten, not because of sunlight, but because of his laugh as he said, "Grandma, you look amazing today. That blouse. Isn't that the one Mom said she loved on you?" Julie smiled and poured the tea. They sat down together, no rush to speak, just being there, fully present. Ben opened his laptop and showed her his new game. Julie didn't understand it all, but she didn't pretend to care. She asked honestly, listened fully. "Do you get excited when this character wins?" "Totally, Grandma. But if I lose, I just have to start all over. It's like a life lesson, kind of." Julie nodded. "Just like life, isn't it? Sometimes we have to start over, not because we're weak, but because we choose not to stay in sadness." Ben looked at her, saying nothing. But in his eyes, Julie saw it. She had touched the deepest part of his heart, not through advice, but through a compassionate presence. That afternoon, Julie invited Linda to walk to the nearby park. Both wore light jackets, holding their thermos mugs, strolling gently. The air was still there. They didn't talk much, but as they paused under a maple tree shedding its leaves, Linda quietly said, "I'm grateful for you. Because of you, I finally reached out to my daughter after 4 years of silence. She came to visit last week. We cried like kids." Julie held her friend's hand, no words needed. Terart. That night, as Julie was getting ready for bed, her phone lit up with a video call from her daughter. She sat on the couch, hugging a pillow, her expression soft. "Mom, I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I've been so busy sometimes. I forgot that you need love too. Ben told me you've changed so much. You're like the mom I remember. Gentle, warm, the one who makes me want to come home. Mom, thank you." Julie was overwhelmed. She hadn't thought she'd done anything grand. But sometimes one person's quiet change is enough to awaken arms that had once let go. That weekend, Julie hosted a small afternoon tea, inviting longtime neighbors, the ones she used to only nod to in passing. She baked cookies herself, set out her old porcelain teacups, and played soft music from the 60s. It wasn't a loud gathering, but the eyes, the smiles, the stories of growing older, of children, of near goodbyes, they pulled everyone closer. Julie looked around the room. There was no TV hum in the background, no silence sinking into empty chairs, just the warmth of human connection. And in that moment, she realized, happiness isn't being loved by many, it's being loved by a few, the right way. That night before sleeping, Julie wrote in her journal, "I'm not lonely anymore, not because others changed, but because I chose to open my heart." And that's when love found its way back. If you have ever longed for a deeper connection with your loved ones, leave a 6. And if you're living again a part of your life you once thought was lost, share it with me. Because sometimes just one story is enough to let someone out there know they are not alone. We've just walked through a journey together, not one of a fictional character, but the journey of many of us. Those who have stepped back, thinking that growing old means growing quiet. But Julie proves something else. Aging doesn't dim us. It's simply a flame waiting to be reignited. In this video, you've seen a raw moment when Julie realized she was slowly being left behind, not by others, but by her own silence. The small yet harmful habits, complaining, resisting change, clinging to the past, that quietly pulled her away from those who loved her. A simple encounter, a refusal of help, that became the turning point for Julie to look inward. The journey of change, one step at a time, not because anyone forced her, but because her heart longed to come alive again. And finally, the rebirth of deep connections, not through perfection, but through sincerity, vulnerability, and forgiveness. You see, no one stays lonely forever. Take one step towards someone, and they'll walk 2 steps toward you. So today, where will you begin? Maybe it's a call you've put off for too long, a message you once typed, then deleted, a smile you forgot how to give, or simply put on that one blouse that makes you feel a little more like you again. Whatever it is, make it small, but do it today. Ma'am, if you've made it with me to this point, leave a comment, just your age or a short line. I'm ready to begin again. Or I am Julie too. I read every word you write, and I know we, the ones embracing this beautiful age, still have so much to give and receive. Don't forget to like and share this video with someone who might need it. And subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next story. Because every week I'll bring you a new journey, a new voice, and a new way to live. So we can grow older, but never grow dim. Thank you for staying. Thank you for still choosing to live so beautifully.